Yes, I'm back, and I'm here with a great tutorial on how to make this beautiful pumpkin wreath. Hey, Mom! This wreath was inspired by a wreath done by Val's Visions and Designs. I liked it because it used yarn and ribbon. She didn't really get into the details of how she did the yarn part, so I'll try to explain that. I just tied it onto the wire and wrapped it around. After a while, to keep it in place, I put a little bit of hot glue on the ends. I just used small amounts at a time so it would be easy. Don't worry, if you run out of yarn, you can always just either tie it off or glue some more like I'm doing here, and then you can continue wrapping it. After I wrapped every other set of wires there, I went back and wrapped around the whole outer rim of the pumpkin. And again, this wasn't really explained, but I was just trying to mimic what I saw on Val's wreath, because I did like the yarn look. So here I'm just wrapping it around the whole entire outside. I would wrap it and then I would kind of twist it like I'm doing here and push it back to make sure it stayed really tight and you wouldn't be able to see any of the wire. After it was done, I tied it off and glued it. I do have to come back later and do the stem, but now I moved on to the ribbon. She used orange deco mesh like this and used the ribbon so that it didn't look as see-through, and I kind of played around with that as well, but I ultimately wanted the same kind of effect. So the way she did it is she glued them together first. That was kind of unruly for me. So what I did was I cut all the different ribbon pieces for the sizes of the different holes, and I glued them on first, and then I went back with the deco mesh and did the same procedure, and just trimmed the edges. So you're gonna overlap a little bit because you do want all of the holes to be covered. Don't worry, afterwards you can just go around and trim it, and you really won't see it from the front side because it's a nice 3D wreath. So you really want to just take your time and make sure that the ribbon kind of ends behind the yarn where it can be hidden, and then you can overlap over the sides of the pumpkin so that all of the open area is covered. Don't worry about overlapping because it's going to be trimmed off later. So that's what I'm just doing here. And I just did it in sections. If you try to glue it all at one time, it's going to be a mess. But if you just do like the top or the bottom, and then you do the sides, and then you do the other side, then it'll work out. And just so that you know, this ribbon, along with the orange deco mesh and this wreath frame, this pumpkin wreath frame, all came from Dollar Tree. The yarn I had in my stash, but Dollar Tree does carry yarn as well. So you could find a lot of these materials at the Dollar Tree. I also use leaves later on that also came from Dollar Tree. Just so that you know, because I know a lot of people ask me these questions. Of course, you can find materials wherever you like, but I do recommend these wreath frames because they're only $1.25, and this ribbon's actually pretty good. One thing I would tell you while you're making this is to be careful because the ribbon and the deco mesh is very porous or open. The hot glue goes right through it. It's almost like there's nothing in between you and the hot glue. So I would definitely recommend that you use something to push down the ribbon and everything. You do want it to have a good seal, but you don't want to use your fingers in that. After everything is carefully and meticulously trimmed and you've glued down anything that might have popped up, I went back and did the stem. I did it the same way I did the other yarn. I tied it, I glued it down on the back, not in the front, where you can see, and then I wrapped some brown yarn around the stem until I got to the end, and then I once again tied it off and then glued it on the back. Again, being super careful not to burn myself. Next, I used my Bowdabra to make my bow. I love this device because I'm a little bit bow challenged. So you just kind of put a piece of string in there, and then you pick your ribbons and you put your ribbons in, and then you just tie it and it's done. You don't have to wrestle with holding it or anything like that. So I kind of love this device. I even have the mini bow dabra. My bows still aren't great, but I'm a lot less stressful about it. And that's important for Let's Say It Together. Self-care. Oh, take a look at this beautiful autumn ribbon. It's got gold sparkles around the sides, and it's got beautiful autumn leaves. I used 3 different types of ribbons, so along with this autumn ribbon, I used the ribbon from before, and then I used a sparkly orange POW ribbon to make the bow. There's actually 4 layers, so there's the original ribbon on the bottom, then the autumn ribbon, the orange ribbon, and then I put a little bit of the autumn ribbon on top again. I just wanted everybody to see those leaves. I love them so much. So like I said, after you're done, you just tie it, and then you kind of give it a little zhuzh and you know, make it look pretty, which I guess I don't really have enough patience for, so that's why my bows always look like craptastic, but I'm trying here. I'm trying, you know, I'm trying to make it a pretty bow. It's just, my mother makes beautiful bows. My bows, I don't even bother at Christmas time anymore. And those you just like peel and stick. I don't even bother. Moving on. So we're almost done with this beautiful wreath. This is the funnest part for me. It's kind of adding all the different flares and things. So I have this little piece of an oak tree that I'm going to use, this little stick. And then I have all the fake leaves that I'm going to put on it. And I might have a couple of acorns as well. The first thing that I did with the leaves is that I decided to cut them into individual leaves instead of trying to use the vine of them, because that's not natural anyway. Yes, so ultimately I recommended that you cut the individual leaves off. I did decide to use the sparkly leaves as well, because I just think it kind of echoes the ribbon and echoes the deco mesh, and I like that effect as well. So those are really all the tips that I have to recreate Val's beautiful wreath. We'll have some pictures at the end, but first, a few words from my biggest fan and my biggest critic, Dean. That's the last one. What, Beanie? What? Yeah, we're almost done. Look at this. What do you think? Take a look. Deanie, what are you doing? Oh, you're making biscuits. Dean's not going to make an appearance because he's making biscuits. Just like that. Oh, Dean's making an appearance. Look at that. What do you think? Nice? Do you like it? Or no? Maybe not. Stepping on it. Okay. I guess so. What do you think? I can't see what I'm doing because there's a cat. Jeez.